a society where corruption seems to be a norm, where cutting corners seems to be a norm to make quick profit, how have you been able to maintain your stand against this as a business owner?
Yeah, it's like a paradox in the sense that very many people have concluded that you can never do business in this part of the world without being corrupt. Okay, first of all is that your choice of business are part of the things that will expose you to those. If I'm planting rice and harvesting them, milling them, and selling it to you, I don't have any issue business with corruption. Okay. If I am looking for contract, going to government, sitting down and begging to somebody to give me a job, and the person will say, okay, part that invoice with 10%, for me, then your level of exposure to corruption is higher. We started business by providing service where I was never a contractor. I never did any government project, just that I learned some soft skill while I was doing apprenticeship, did a research in informal way to know what works in this car that works in the other car. So it's my intelligence, information of knowing where to find things and give it to people. That was the thing. So I never really get to find out what this corruption is all about until our business started growing and getting to a certain level where we have things to do with government agencies or some corporate body. In every organization, you need to have a corporate creed and a code of conduct. And these are the way you want to run your belief systems that motivate what you are doing. You must make it clear within your organization things you will not do. We've done that in our system, where I have met a very clear challenge is where, take for instance, we got to a point where we grew our business and start venturing into importation. And when you import goods in the port, you have corrupt custom officers who would like to exploit you. And therefore, when you have a piston ring is a part of internal combustion engine that works in automobile. The tariff heading is completely different with the rings you put in your hand. But because it's not the same, this is everything internal combustion engine is in tariff heading 87010. But this corrupt officer will tell you, oh, and you have applied the correct tariff heading and paid the correct duty. But he will say no. He will be quoting the tariff heading of a ring that you put in your hand just to extort money from you. And this is where many Christians have challenges, whether this is a bribe or they are getting into corruption. I interpret corruption by somebody giving you money to influence you to do what is not right. But there is what I call also extortion, where somebody uses position to take things from you. Because if this custom officer knew and the man I give him money, if I don't give him money, he sits in my paper, I have nobody to report to.
Because that's the authority.
Because he's the authority. And if I want to go to court, it takes me 7 years in Nigeria or 10. The goods will be useless. Bank interest is mounting. There are demurrages counting on the goods. If I give him money, I do not see myself as somebody who is corrupt because I have paid the correct duty at the correct tariff heading that I was supposed to. But he's using his position to extort money from me or punish me to pay more on it. And as an intelligent business person, I need to calculate the cost because that also adds value. Now, somebody said, no, you are trying to rationalize bribing. And I ask the person, okay, fine. If an armed robber meets you on the road with your car and put a gun in your head and tell you your car or your life, you need to choose one, do you ask him to give you time to think about it? You simply step out of the car and let him take the car. And I'll ask the person, did you bribe the armed robber? Because he was desperate. And your life, he will shoot you if you don't give him the car. He extorted you. You did not bribe him. The same thing with a custom officer who sat on my paper when I have paid the correct duty. What is wrong is that if I have changed the tariff heading, doing what I'm not supposed to do, inducing with money and sharing government money with him, then you are involved in corruption. Taking that away, when you grow and continue to get muscle, people begin to respect you. So we have come to a position where people respect us. So we are not going through the difficulties like so many other young people are going through it. But to be honest, corruption is a cancer in our own country that is eating the fabric of the system. And something needs to be done to inherit it. Unfortunately, the leaders talk, but nobody had gone out. Only one person that I can give credit that have made an attempt to fight corruption head on was the man we know as Olusegun Obasanjo. Every other person is paying lip service to it. I'm sorry to say, I'm speaking in a public. They talk, but we haven't seen anything. The only person that have taken it head on, arrested his inspector general, arrested people who are working with him that ever steered fear into the Nigeria to say corruption is something to be inherited. It has to be fought at the top level. Take people and make example out of them at the top level. The message will cascade down. Is the only person that have done it is the man I made a reference to. Every other people are just good talkers, but nobody have believed that the system can be fought, and it has never stopped. So it's regrettably one of the inhibition we have that have put us as one of the 175 worst country to do business out of about 200. You know.
And how does this influence or affect, the business environment in general?
It does not affect all the business environment because it's only secluded within a very top, especially the corruption we are facing in Nigeria are mostly in the government circle. In a corporate organization, you mess up, the people fire you, and they put systems and processes in place to checkmate it. So it is in a BRS minimal. It's there because people have seen it in a way to make money. Who had gone into politics in the last 20 years in Nigeria that is not a multi-billionaire? Show me one person at any level. Which company did he sit? People we knew that never have their bicycle. Once they enter into get vote, they are honorable and their wife are face raising. And before you know it, they have skyscrapers and all of that. And so that's why we are saying, it's hard for me to say these things, but I talk from my heart. And the real truth is that the leadership have to be blamed. But one day, we're going to find the God's own man that God sent to this country, and we will clean this. Nigeria has not been worse than Ghana. Lawrence cleaned it, and people get back to senses. I do business in Ghana. There are things I never bothered about in doing business in Ghana that are nightmare for me in Nigeria every day, how to manage and run them. And it's all from the leadership at the top. Okay, so it's a reality that faces people, but you can choose a business where you are not going to be confronted with those things, and give you some level of it. But all these guys that says they are contractors, they work, they do supply, quite a number of them, it's hard to legal out of it without padding invoice and making all of those things. Some people have actually institutionalized it. Like, if you cannot do it, please leave this kind of business that you are not belong to. And of course, we have walked away from businesses if that is what it takes to do it, and we tell you, sorry, we don't do it.
And this is, this will bring me to my next question. Would you like to share an experience of when your business had to lose out on profit making because you rather stick to your integrity?
I have so many examples to make, but let me start, because foundation of everything is very important. I will share one practical experience to you. This was at my beginning, really struggling as a young man to make money. Frankly, I started with 200 naira. 1,000 naira means so much to me, talk less about 2,000 or 5,000. One time I came to Lagos to buy a merchandise, and I went to somewhere in Ajegule, in Krikri Road precisely. The name of the company, the man's name is Ilemobala. He imports motorcycle spare parts. I was struggling young man, and I went there. Many traders go there to buy things, but I never knew there was some other things that were going on. So this man was one of the wealthiest Nigeria in motorcycle spare parts importation then. He had about 4 or 5 wives. He's a Muslim, but unfortunately, he doesn't trust one of his wives that usually stay with him in the store. This fateful day, I came into his place and I bought some motorcycle parts. His boy that works for him thought I was one of these regular trader and took engine valve for Honda 175, 100 cc, and put inside my goods. And met me as after I've bought my merchandise, I want to go. He said he had added something there. I asked him what it is. He told me, and I should give him 200 naira. I'm being very honest on the public or TV. I counted 200 naira and gave him. My spirit sank and crunched immediately, because it's not the life I live. It was like an involuntary action, but my leg became heavy. I said, excuse me, can I have that money back? He said, no, please, I shouldn't do so. I said, please. I didn't come here for this. He said, please, I should not expose. I said, I'm not going to expose you. Just give me back that 200 naira. Whatever you add in that goods, please go and remove it. He said, no, that about 4 traders were by my side. I said, what nonsense am I doing? Okay, one of them counted 200 naira and gave me and said he would take the back. I said, sorry. This guy need to return my own money and take his master's goods back to his counter. I did not come here for this. Don't say, you claiming you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, why did you pay? I said, thank you, but I'm purging myself right away. So you cannot be overtaken.
Yes.
But I'm not living here without it. The boy said, please, I shouldn't. I said, God is going to expose you now if you don't do what I'm telling you. The correct thing you do now is, please take this valve back and give me my 200 naira. He was still complaining. I moved straight. I waked the woman. She was sleeping. I said, this is your boy. Just collected 200 naira from me. He told me he added valve. I paid him money.
So that was the lower price.
The lower price. Okay, this thing is sold for about 500 naira per a set, So he discounted it, because it's a stolen goods,
yes.
That wasn't. So the wife said, the boy called him, he denied. I held him. We searched him. We couldn't find the money. I put hand inside the stockings, and behold, I find my 20 naira into 10, the 200 naira. And I brought my goods. I said, this is my invoice. You see, this thing is inside and it's not there. So they corrected it. The wife told me that the husband trusted that boy more than him. He actually put the boy there to supervise him and keep on complaining things are missing. We left that day. All the traders abused me. You go to church. What kind of useless church do you go? You come here to close shop. You spoil business for people. You don't want this. We breeded with you to agree. I took all the bad name, but I didn't care. Listen, when you do things right, it gives you courage.
Yes.
It inspires your confidence.
Yes.
Your mind is strong. I believe that if I ever did anything like that, that I will never be successful. And that was why I couldn't accept it. So I built the foundation of my business on this kind of principle. Another something similar to it was, I was under 20, 23, 22. We went to Taiwan. Those days, China has not opened. In the night, they took us for dinner. After dinner, they took us to somewhere. It happens to be a nightclub. They are bringing ladies to sit by side of every one of us. And when we finish, they say, okay, you can pass a night. Like they were sharing women to us like cola. Everybody carry a lady to his room. I told them I don't do this. That I'm a Christian. I don't do it. I said, I'm sorry. You are not coming to my room and things like that. And when we finished and we returned back to Nigeria, our consignment started landing. The first person's own land. The market were filled before the second one land. Only myself, the time my consignment landed, the goods were so scarce that I was selling it by 10. And they wanted I said, please, you have chopped your own profit in Taiwan, so you cannot come to Nigeria. You cannot come here and look for another profit. You ate your profit up front. So I kind of had this instinct that if I do wrong, it will catch up with me eventually in the things I do. So this inspires confidence in me that I don't want to have anything to do with it, so that I can keep my boldness and my confidence. I don't want to be praying and something is in my praise dangling, like I have a heart like a little child. Okay, so these are, but for me, this is what integrity is. I've met other instances in life because I tell people what is integrity. Integrity is not what you do when everybody is around, when everybody is watching you. Integrity is what you do, what you can do or what you did, when you know whatever you do can never be found out and nobody will ever knew you did it and you decide to do otherwise. Before then, you have not been tested with integrity. And by the grace of God, I've had several tests in my life in a situation like that, where it will never be found out. Nobody will ever knew. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this. So it's hard to say, but God has given me grace to stand in top of it. I had one of my greatest tests in 2011, and I overcame it. It was not easy. Came home jumping up and telling my wife I won. And she was wondering, when did I become a gambler? I said I won. And I shared the whole matter with her. She screamed and said, you did? I said I did. The rest is history. God has been faithful. He's been guiding me and carrying me through. And by his grace, I have built Coscharis on integrity, and I tell our people we will never compromise it. In fact, sometimes I call people for an interview. I just simply say, please, we don't compromise integrity here. Do you understand? He said, yes. I said, you pass the interview. We'll give you a job. Just understand that in this place, this is not, we don't compromise it. We don't compromise it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
No compromise, integrity.
Yep.
you can still work things out. Your businesses can still work out, irrespective of
Absolutely.
how tough the environment is.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure having you here with us.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.